Okay, here it is. Let's do a short unboxing of the campaign, the new campaign. And I'm not going to look at too many spoilers here, but we will look at the campaign log a bit. Here's the back of it. All right. I don't know what else we should say. This is just what it looks like. It's a nice big version of the box that comes with the campaigns nowadays. All right, let's get this sucker open. We've got probably a few interesting things that they said on the back were in here, including a Cthulhu board. I don't know what that means, but we're about to find out. As usual, a nice spiral-bound campaign guide. We'll take a look at this a bit more in a second, but for spoiler reasons, let's not do that yet. That's the Cthulhu board, whatever that means. And looks like we have some flood tokens. And they look like the flood tokens from the Innsmouth conspiracy. Same flood tokens. All right, big empty box. As usual, you put all your player cards in here. All right, we've got some probably sets that are in multiple campaigns or multiple scenarios. We've got a really small one here. Let's see how many scenarios we got just to put them out here. Get rid of this giant box here. Some of them are definitely shorter than others. This, and you just kind of see the difference in how many cards come for that scenario. All right, so we're looking at 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different looking scenarios here. I don't know what order things are supposed to be in. I think this one's the first one. It seems kind of correct. And then this Doom of Arkham one is probably the last one. I'm not going to open these because I'm just not going to, but there's an enemy for you. And something with a player card back. So that's it. That is what is in the Drowned City campaign. Leave that right there. I am going to just open up the campaign guide a bit and take a look at what it says for the setup, just because I'm curious any new keywords to look at. So if you don't want to see any of that stuff, go buy the campaign, go play it. I'll talk about it when I'm finished playing it myself too. All right, here we go. Let's see. 1 to 4 players. The following 9 scenarios, we just saw them. One Last Job, The Western Wall, The Drowned Quarter, Obsidian Canyons, Court of the Ancients, The Apiary, The Grand Vault, Sepulchre of the Sleeper, and The Doom of Arkham, which apparently has multiple parts because this is part 1. Okay. Flood tokens, I'm sure this is exactly the same as the rules from Innsmouth Conspiracy. Basically, 2-sided token. If you have a token at all, the location is flooded. Partially flooded is this. Fully flooded is that. Yeah, for purposes of card effects, both partially flooded locations and fully flooded locations are considered to be flooded. All right, let's see what our campaign setup looks like in terms of tokens. I'm always curious about this. So standard, +1, 0, 0, 3 -1s, 2 -2s, -3, -4. You start with both a tablet and an Elder Thing in there. Okay. I remember from, well, I mean, it seems like fairly normal. No -5, though. I'm always curious if they throw a -5 in there at the beginning, just like the Forgotten Age. Okay, we've got some artifacts. These are just story assets, I suppose. You might begin play with an earned artifact story asset, but they're not really part of your deck. Seems like the keys from Scarlet Keys. Alien glyphs, you have to translate glyphs on the second page of the campaign log. Yeah, let's take a look at that. Okay. Yeah, those are certainly some alien glyphs. And the campaign log itself looks fairly normal. There's the tasks that we will try to find out where they are as well. I should say here in the back. Tasks are on page 7. Okay. New keywords. Oh, this is funny. For the sake of your sanity, do not stare at any alien glyph for longer than 5 minutes at a time. I like that. That's funny. Okay, so Patrol is an old one. Relentless is a new one. Let's take a look at that. Some enemies in this campaign have the Relentless keyword during the enemy phase after Framework Step 3.3. Each enemy with the Relentless keyword that has attacked this phase, even if that attack was canceled, readies and attacks the investigators it's engaged with a second time. Okay, so after attacks, it gets to attack again. That's kind of why people had said, hey, there's a lot of canceling enemy attacks in this player card expansion, so this must be why. Alert is old and Seal is old, but interesting to come out in this particular set because usually that's a player card thing. We might get them on some player cards, but maybe it's something that happens on Treacheries too. That would be kind of cool if it was like Seal the +1 or whatever. All right. More actual spoilers for the prologue. I'm just briefly looking at this. I wanted to get to this page where it says something about tasks. I want to see what the rules are. Okay, I'm not reading this, although I see that there's something if you're playing as Wendy, Wendy Adams from the core set, the orphan. I don't know. Okay, we'll see it later. Again, I'm not going to read the first scenario stuff, but it looks like after the first scenario, you start getting tasks. At least, I think so. Let's look at that again. Yeah, scenario setup. Okay, so it's not until the first interlude that, and I was curious because there's stuff about different traits in the player cards. It looks like there's some relationship to traits in the campaign as well, although from what I remember reading before, yeah, it just says that they're recommended that you take them if you are a particular class or have particular traits themselves. So let's look at the rules here. It says each investigator must select a different task, and they represent the investigator's obligations and their reasons for becoming involved with some guy I don't know. Each investigator must choose a different one, and then there's a recommended one for a specific type of investigator. However, you can choose any of them if you want to. It's up to you to justify how your investigator got into this mess in the first place. I like it. So there's a double-sided task card, which is somewhere in here, and they have objectives. From the original preview article, they talked about these a bit, where you have to, like, I don't know, heal a certain number of times or something like that. Okay, and it says here you do this should attempt to complete once per scenario over the course of the campaign. Each investigator will also be prompted to resolve story text during setup and or resolution of scenario. Okay, that's interesting. So maybe if you have a particular task, something else happens during the scenarios too. And you could erase progress. Otherwise, you mark it. And completing it will earn experience and or rewards. The more times an investigator completes the task, the better. Do not ignore it. Okay, and I'm pretty sure like we could look, they showed us in the original thing what was on the other side, and they usually were some benefit, like an extra action to move, something like that. Okay. There's a little bit of flavor text, some story about why you're picking a particular task. There are quite a few. How many are there? There's 4 on this page, 3 there. That's 7. There's 8. Okay. You know what's kind of funny is that they say things like recommended for class, but in the community we usually talk about the different roles you play. Like, are you the fighter? Are you the clover? And it's not like actual game terminology. It never has been. So they're kind of telling you like seeker stands in for that, but also trait can stand in for that. But they have no other way of telling us like if you're the one who gets mostly clues, then this is the one you should take. I believe this is the one I've seen it before. Is if you discover the last clue at your location or something. So, yeah, I wish they had some other way to say that because not all seekers do that. I mean, almost all of them do, but not all of them necessarily. And then I'm not going to look at any more of this. I think I just want to find out myself when I play through, but let's just look at that alien glyphs again, but not for too long. Don't look at it for too long. Look away from your screen. Look away. All right. So here we see artifacts earned. Okay, so those are some artifacts we can get, and the rest of it seems, again, like your basic campaign log. All right, I'm excited for this. This Cthulhu board is just a giant punch-out, so you can see it coming out right here. It's just a punch-out. Um, there looks like a couple of spaces to put things here. You can kind of see that through the plastic. Like 3 cards, looks like that to me, but really great art. I love all the new art they've commissioned for this game, but um, there you go. That is unboxing of the new Arkham horror campaign, The Drowned City. And I am looking forward to playing. I'll be playing with my 3 player group pretty soon, and I'll give you all my thoughts on a first playthrough, which is, not necessarily final thoughts about, or, our opinions about these campaigns change over time for sure, for sure. So I like to give you my first check-in, and I think the first run through any campaign is very important. They're also kind of designed to be replayable. So sometimes the first playthrough is really great, and then afterwards you're like, not as interesting anymore. And sometimes the reverse, where your first playthrough is miserable, and then once you have a little more campaign knowledge, it gets a little more interesting. And some of that is the design, some of it's just what happens, random luck through your particular run too. So I'll be playing it once, here in paper with my group, but not on the channel. I'll do it on the channel later once I have a better feeling for how to show off the campaign. All right, that's it for me. I will see you all later.